With the Cologne Major over and done with as of last night, players are back on the game, and all of the attention goes right back to Valve.
And now for our Counter-Strike report. New York's very own Mike Water.
Welcome back to DE News. I'm your host, Mike Water 9. We will start the news with today's weather report. DE Ancient, rain. DE Train, rain. And Office, snow. And now we get into our market cap. And what seems like a rare occurrence now, we get to say that there is an actual uptrend as of this morning. We're sitting firm in the 920 to 950 range, going up to a high of 937 today. And this is the first long-standing green trend we've seen in quite a while. So if you stopped paying attention a month ago or a few weeks ago, you may not be privy as to what happened. The biggest move came at the start of June when the Cologne 2026 Major kicked off. Then, with just the pure sheer volume that was injected into the market, there was of course a slight healthy pullback. People taking profits, money being held in escrow, etc. But there is other news in the entire ecosystem that, lends itself towards a uptrending market. We just got a ban wave a few days ago. I made a video on that if you want to hear more about that specifically. Regardless of your viewpoint on it, there is a new and exciting sticker market that we have never been exposed to before, so people are anticipating and eager to see how that one goes in terms of sales, etc. And we just got finished with the most watched Counter-Strike Major of all time. Sentiment is on the up and up, and if anything, the market is lagging behind a little bit. But the Cologne sticker system will get its own video tomorrow or in the next week or so, because there simply is just a lot to unpack there and a lot of different avenues in which Valve can take it regarding sales, sale length. The part that we're going to focus on today is the fact that it kind of functions like a prediction market. The teams that win seem to benefit the most in terms of price point going upwards. So winning is driving sales, and sales is driving relative demand, and relative demand is driving price upwards. I went with the safer option, and when the Major was just kicking off, I bought a few holo stickers, right? Some 9Z, Aurora, Gaming Gladiators, MIBR. Now the Gaming Gladiators one, I just kind of expected to be a rarer sticker because I don't think they'll ever make a Major ever again, but teams like 9Z and Aurora that had, relatively good showings in Cologne, their stickers increased in price, I think threefold, and I bought them for $5, sold them for 15, an easy 1 week flip. So you have that option, or if you know what you're talking about in terms of esports, if you're able to read the bracket right and make some bold predictions and claims, you're going to benefit financially from that if you purchase the stickers beforehand. And that brings us to some of the defining market movers this week, because a lot of them were stickers from Cologne 2026, and they weren't small gains, they were very substantial. The most of which at this point in time is Falcons, of course, the Cologne 2026 winners, right? They just pulled off one of the greatest major runs in not just CS2, but Counter-Strike Major history. NiKo finally gets his Major. We'll talk about that in a few moments. And it definitely reflected in the prices of the underlying stickers. The last 3 days in terms of market cap were basically sideways, up and down, no real movement in either direction. But as soon as the Falcons won the Major, all of the Falcons stickers benefited in terms of price point. The NiKo autograph in holographic went up over 250% just from them winning the Major. So if you did predict this right, or you did have a few of these Falcons stickers, I think a good time to sell would be right now. Not all of them, because we don't know the future of this sticker market. There is a ton of ways in which Valve can go. So if you have a stack of them, I would try to get rid of at least a few of them just to cover your initial buy-in. And that's for the simple reason that we can realistically expect the Falcons Champion sticker to come out, which we don't know the prices of when they're released, but we can expect it to decrease relative demand for the regular NiKo sticker and the regular Modesty sticker, just because there's going to be another version of that that's a little bit more, enticing. So when these champion stickers do come, or if they come, it might be worth being at your computer when this update hits. Because again, we don't know what the prices will start at. Will they match the regular Falcons sticker cost right now, or will it go back to how it did when the Cologne Major first came out and just bases it off of the base price? Because let's say if it starts at those base prices, Falcons Holo starts at $15 for the champion version, but the Falcons Holo is $50 right now, then it'll probably meet somewhere in the middle and you'll have a pretty penny to make in terms of buying those stickers. And of course, we'll talk about that tomorrow more. And NiKo, Pro Counter-Strike in general, for what it's worth, is very popular in China. And the NiKo win definitely put a little bit of wind in their sales, and the market has increased substantially because of it. The Falcons win sparked a big move in the market, up 2% in the last 24 hours. The skins on top are, of course, the projects of Mr. Windking. The biggest benefactor, of course, right now being the glove case. The USB Cyrex broke over $100 for a brief point in time, which is a pretty substantial gain considering it was in the $10 to $20 range just a month and a half ago about. That seems to be their headline, their main runner, but all of the skins within the glove case are pretty much doing extremely well. The Glock 18 Ironwork is around $60. It was $8 in early January. The P2000 Turf in factory new is a 0-1 blue. The MP7 Cirrus, which is a 0-1 MP7. If you're an OG, you remember that one. The FAMAS Mecha Industries is the best performing pink. The reds haven't seen necessarily any big substantial movements, but the underlying ones that trade up to it are. Train 2021 is back on the menu again. Some of the top movers include the M4 Fizzy Pop, the Desert Eagle Sputnik, and the AWP Pop-Off. Some ones that don't necessarily fit any of the molds we've been talking about are the M4 Nitro. It continues to move. It's from the Safe House collection, which was previously actively dropped until January of this year, and the Nuke 2018 collection, which was also actively dropped and discontinued in January. The Glock 18 Nuclear Garden, which was the headline runner across the entire market, and the AWP Acheron, which is a blue AWP in the Nuke 2018 collection. But if you're paying attention to those top movers, there is one case that typically gets attention from Windking, but is noticeably absent from the top movers, and that's the Operation Riptide case. The Operation Riptide case, before the mass discontinuation of all active weekly drops, was one of the only discontinued cases outright, and it led to a big source of attention from Chinese pump groups because of its limited supply and, no guaranteed increase in supply after it was discontinued with Operation Riptide in 2021. And it typically defines the front-running movers that China is involved in. The AK Elite Museo, as we know, was one of the most notorious, a not relatively liked AK skin reaching over $1,000 in factory new condition. Who the fuck was buying it, right? It was China. But since it's only been 12-ish, 24 hours since the second wave of money has hit the market since March, I think you have a decent window of time or opportunity to buy some of the underpriced skins within this case specifically if you want to try and ride the China wave yourself. But we'll touch on the specifics at the end in the watch list. One group or class of skins that were in the top movers as well. Skins.com is the newest sponsor on our channel. They have just released a P2P trading platform looking to compete with the best players in the space. If you don't want to wait that long, they do have an insta-sell feature on the site in which the rates are the best I've seen, just straight up. When the market is down, everything is on sale. And with the deals you're getting on skins.com, you could start your position basically up 20 to 25%. Try out skins.com and be a part of the future of CS2 skin trading. Is the 5.7. Now, if you were watching the Cologne Major, the 5.7 was basically a assault rifle that was in a pistol's body. It won CT side so many rounds, and the amount of 10-2s, 11-1s on the CT side that you saw within the group stages and within the playoffs itself was quite jarring, and a lot of that was due to the 5.7 and the power that it held. It dominated the pro game, so it dominated some of the market movement as people were just buying play skins for themselves, not necessarily anything to do with China, just people buying 5.7 skins because the 5.7 they've now realized is a very good weapon to use on eco rounds. And while play skin demand is something good to take advantage of, this one kind of terrifies me a little bit because we are expecting a new season. Valve doesn't like their timelines anymore, but last July we got a new season, and then January we got a new season, so it's been every 6 months. We can realistically expect the new season to come in July at some point in time. If anything, though, this is a prime candidate for a nerf and not something that will benefit from this season in which you typically get weapon tuning involved with the patch notes. Counter-Strike players are, famously, sane and don't overreact, so when the 5.7 gets nerfed, everything will plummet to zero. And speaking of that, we have a weekly case update. The Revolution case led this week in terms of pure openings, just edging out the Fever case by around 10,000 cases, sitting at just over 1 million openings on the week. Now, case openings as a whole are going down. Of course, we have the 2 terminals in there taking some of that attention away. You have the Armory collections, which, while they're not being opened by everyone, are still being open and provide a direct substitute to cases. And notably, Dreams and Nightmares has fallen behind a little bit, being the 3rd most open case of the week. Now, I do think some of that can be attested to the fact that the case is $2, right? The Revolution case is 30 cents. So if you get it in a weekly drop, you may just be more inclined to open it. The Dreams and Nightmares case, $2, well, you just sell that and you get $2 in your account. It's a little bit easier to justify someone selling that one as opposed to the Revolution case, just because it's so cheap right now. So some of that weakness that it carries in terms of the case openings this week may be just pure artifice. But it is getting old. It's over 4 years old at this point, I believe, so, it may be time to go. But despite that, Kilowatt still underperforms the Dreams and Nightmares case, despite that high price, This case rotation might be very interesting. And we will touch on the esports side of things because NiKo has finally won his major. I feel like even if you don't watch the esports side of things, everyone knows NiKo. He's a very iconic player, and for his 10-year career, the major has always eluded him famously. And after 10 grueling years and about 5 different body types, he's finally done it with the Falcons last night. Deservedly so, and deservedly so was the path in which he got to this major because there is no fluke, there are no asterisks associated with this Falcons major. They earned this one. Against all odds, their in-game leader was on the team for 2 months. So little time that he was technically considered a stand-in when playing for the Falcons, and that's why Kicksand still has a sticker and not Kerrigan. Now this dude completely reshaped the mental fortitude of this squad, a team that just struggled with confidence really. We knew they had the firepower, we knew they had the skills, they just couldn't get it done on the biggest stages, and Kerrigan gave him that respite. Kerrigan gave him that bait, basically, because he had the worst performance ever in a major to win a major. That's called intangibles, boys. Learn that fucking word. Intangibles is what sets you apart from the rest. Instilling belief in a team that's historically cracked under the pressure of themselves and of the audiences, that's exactly the person they needed. And Kerrigan dealt with his own fair share of demons. He had the most appearances in majors ever. And in CS2, he was in every single major final but one, Austin 2025. But in those majors in CS2, he lost to Navi, he lost to FaZe, and he lost to Vitality in the most recent Budapest major. In IEM Cologne, he beats all 3 of those teams on his path to the finals and then beats the number 5th ranked team, Furia, beating the 1, 2, 3, and 5 ranked team, Falcons are 4, in their pursuit of the trophy. The toughest possible route to the major final, and they made it look very easy, winning against Furia 3-0. m0NESY wins the MVP, NiKo finally gets his major, Vitality are finally dethroned, and they finally look human on behalf of Kerrigan and the Falcons. Team Spirit look very good, Magic looks like a good future IGL. Having no coach and still pretty much making it a war with Falcons, a 1-round swing could have changed the outcome of that match. A fantastic major full of exceptional plays and exceptional players, and basically the best ad Valve could have gotten for souvenirs, maybe ever. So I think I'll do a video on what stickers to make for which games and which ones will be the most valuable in time because there were absolutely souvenirs and absolutely specific games that definitely will have more value in the future than others. And that brings us into the watch list. Now for one, I would see if there's any underpriced holo stickers Cologne 2026. That one is a little bit more of a gamble, right? Because we don't know if there's going to be a sale. We don't know if there's going to be something in which to drive down prices, even if it's not necessarily a explicit sale. But I think it has the promise of a decent upside enough to justify spending, I don't know, $10 to $20 on some holo stickers or foil stickers. As for weapons, we're going to look into the Riptide case specifically because as we talked about earlier, it received not too much attention on behalf of China in this first day of prices moving upwards. And as we spoke about with the 5.7, and I think it probably gets a nerf in this next season update, I do think that the AUG, I always look towards the AUG just because it's always on the precipice, but it never really quite gets there. So if there is any more tuning done to the M4s, or if the AUG gets like a money decrease in how much it costs to buy it, I think it will see more play in pro play, in the regular meta, casual, competitive, premier, etc. So that's why I'm going to go with the AUG Plague from the Riptide collection, right? It has the upside of being in the Riptide collection and the possibility of it being pumped by China, but it also has a fallback option of it being a gun that would benefit from a new season and a weapon tuning benefiting that gun specifically, right? And you can really do that for any off-meta weapon. I think they're more educated guesses than others, right? The AUG is probably a better choice than something like the Bison or the M249, for example, because it just has a better chance. You don't need as much of a weapon tune for the AUG to move into that meta, whereas the M249 would probably need a fundamental change, and who knows if that happens ever. And the same reasoning could go for the SSG08 Turbo Peak, the Scout. A lot of people spoke about this one because it has the benefit of the auto racing stickers coming out when the next armory rotation comes to us. Now that alone can drive a purchase of this weapon for one, and two, like we did before, it has a backup plan. It sits in the Riptide case, which means that even if it doesn't benefit from the auto racing stickers overtly, right, it's a pink that trades up to the reds within the Riptide collection, and if you get a factory new under a certain float, well then you'll have a perfect factory new filler, which will be demanded if the prices of the reds go up in time. Right now is a better time to buy it. It's cheaper than it's been before, right? It's relatively cheap compared to its peers within the pinks, which means that it'll probably be the best filler in terms of trade-ups. But that's all for DE News today. Hopefully you enjoyed. Peace.